With the trade being made, sending Nazem Kadri, Callie Rosen, and a third-round pick to Colorado for Tyson Barrie and Alex Kerfoot, the question remained, I guess. What's the question? What's going to happen with Tyson Barrie next year? What's going to happen with Alex Kerfoot's contract this season as he's an RFA? And what the heck is going to happen with Mitch Marner if Kerfoot re-signs and for how much? Well, Cody Ceci signed his contract 1 year, $4.5 million. That's really all we're going to talk about with that. The reason we're here is because Alex Kerfoot has signed a 4-year, $14 million contract. So they got him locked up for 4 years. He's going to be 25 by the time this contract, he's 25 by the season's beginning and 29 when the contract ends. So that's not a bad scenario if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. You got him signed for a long term. You got Janssen and Kapanen for 3 years. You got this guy for 4 years. You got Matthews, Tavares, all these guys locked up long term. So it's really, really nice to see. And if things do not work out with the Leafs and Alex Kerfoot, it's an easy movable contract. So that's just kind of a good situation they got sent in. The AAV, the average annual value, is $3.5 million. So, again, you look at that third line, right? I do that because Mike Babcock changes lines like crazy. And guys don't say the same. But if we're looking at it, and it could be Kerfoot, Janssen, Kapanen, all the guys are making around about the same amount of money, and they all had 40 points last year. All right, Alex Kerfoot had a pretty darn good season last season for the Colorado Avalanche. 15 goals, 27 assists for 42 points in 78 games. The 25-year-old, guys, I'm excited for this guy. I really, really am jacked up to watch this kid play. Now, with him signed at $3.5 million per season, what does that mean for Mitch Marner? How much money does that leave the Leafs? Well, you know what? I don't like looking at that stuff just for the fact of Kyle Dubas said we can and we will. He made the trade to move Nikita Zaitsev. He made the trade to get rid of Patrick Marleau. I would say more or less to sign a guy like Mitchell Marner. Why would you go out there and trade Kadri for a guy going up next year and an RFA right now just to get rid of it kind of thing? I don't know. I think it's insurance purposes, I think it is, for the Leafs. You know, you bring in Kerfoot. So if Marner and some other team come to an agreement with an offer sheet and everything like that, you have a guy like Kerfoot to get in there. Now, ideally, they're not the same type of player, and Mitch Marner is that much better, but you added another piece. You added that Kadri replacement, right? So I still believe that they're going to sign Mitch Marner, even with this contract being done. That's just my opinion on it, but we're going to have to wait and see how Kyle Dubas plays this whole thing out, because there's still a bunch of question marks surrounding that. You know, what's the big issue? Is it years? Is it term? Is it term? Is it money? I don't know what the heck the issue is with Mitch Marner in the camp. We can all speculate all we want, but clearly we've seen from the whole Kawhi Leonard situation, speculation means nothing. Nothing. So if you're the Leafs, you look at this team right now and you're like, man, we're actually pretty strong. You added a guy like Tyson Barrie, a guy who had almost 60 points this year, putting him with Morgan Riley, who had over 60, 70 points last year. You know, maybe not on the same pairing, but in the same decor. Then you have a guy like Jake Muzzin. You have Travis Dermott there. I don't know what the heck's going to happen with Jake Gardiner, because he has not had anything going on in free agency. If you're Kyle Dubas and you look at Jake Gardiner and he's willing to come back on a really dinky contract, which he probably wouldn't, but if that would be the case, what do you guys think? Would you bring him back? I still don't know. I still think it was time to move on from Jake Gardiner. But we're here to talk about Alex Kerfoot. All right, you know, and I think that's my personal opinion. He is going to thrive with Janssen, Kapanen on that third line, because you look at his numbers, and we could say that he's a pass first guy because of 15 goals, 27 assists. So if that's the case, then you look at Kapanen's shot. We know that guy has one heck of a chance, one heck of a shot, and Andreas Janssen's got really nifty mitts. So does Kapanen. You look at a guy to get them the puck, and a guy like Alex Kerfoot, who's very good in the faceoff dot, had 56 for the season last year. He had 56% on the faceoff dot. That is really strong. It is really, really good. You know, I think Kadri had 55, and it's very small, obviously, but Jason Spezza had something like 56% as well on the faceoff circle. It's just really positive if you're a Leaf fan. You know, you can't be mad with this trade. You get a top 4 defenseman, a right-hand defenseman we have been preaching about for so damn long in Tyson Barrie. And then you get a guy like that can replace Kadri and Alex Kerfoot, a younger guy, and a guy making, $1 million less as well, who's going to put you about 40 points and kind of do the same type of thing. And you got rid of Kadri, Rosen, and a third-round pick, the Leafs' third-round pick, which if we make the playoffs and we're feeling pretty good, then that's going to be a mid to late third-round pick. And the Leafs kept the Ottawa pick, so if they're garbage, that third-round pick might be very close to a second in a sense, kind of like the top 5 in the second round. So if you're the Leafs, you're like, well, you gave up something, but you got a lot. Now, I'm really happy the Leafs did this. I'm really, really jacked that the Leafs did this, and I'm so happy about the contract they got Alex Kerfoot on. $3.5 million, guys, is fantastic. For 4 years, for a guy that if you put him in the right situation and in a good situation to succeed, this guy can thrive. He might even be a guy that could be in that second power play unit. We know what the first one looks like, and it's insane. But Alex Kerfoot could be that second line, that second center, unless they decide to change the whole power play up than last year, because later in the season that first power play really didn't do a whole lot. So they spread it out a little bit. They have Matthews center one and Tavares center another one, or do you keep that whole thing and then you put Nylander, Kerfoot, Janssen, Kapanen on that second power play, which isn't that bad whatsoever. So I don't know how they're going to play it out, but Kerfoot's a guy that probably could play some power play time as well. If I'm not mistaken, with a guy who can win faceoffs, he could probably play some penalty kill time as well. So a guy like Alex Kerfoot's going to be a really two-dimensional player for this team, and I think Mike Babcock's going to absolutely love him. And I'm really hoping he turns out the way we all hope he can. Now, Kadri did have that physical side about him. Trust me, we all know come playoff time. I'm not too sure what Alex Kerfoot does when it comes to the physical game. He only had 22 hits last year, so he's probably not a physical guy, which in this day and age, you're kind of like, well, is it a big thing? But then you look at the Stanley Cup Finals and you look at those guys banging around like crazy. I don't know. I personally don't really think the whole size and hitting thing's a big factor. If you can outplay a team, it's fine. You don't have to be physical, and that's just my opinion on that. Now, again, can he be physical when he needs to be? Maybe, but it's all kind of let's wait and see when it comes to Alex Kerfoot. I love the contract he signed to, coming from what we've seen there in Colorado. How's he going to be as a Leaf? Only time is going to tell. Same with Tyson Barrie. All right, it's going to be really exciting though. But now, with Kerfoot now signed, the only guy left for the Leafs that they have to re-sign, unless Jake Gardiner, is Mitch Marner. He's the only guy left. So what do they do? I don't know. You know what? I thought with trading Marleau, trading Zaitsev, you'd be able to give him the contract he wants. But then you give Kerfoot that type of that contract, and you get Tyson Barrie. And I know they retained 50%, but even though they still have $2.5 million on that, and Cody Ceci for the 1 year at $4.5. What are you gonna do? What are the Leafs gonna do? What's Kyle Dubas gonna do? I don't know. So we're just going to have to wait and see how it all plays out. But as for this, I love it. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoyed the video, and you guys enjoy the signing of Alex Kerfoot. Smack that like button to appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the game. Not on the game. It's not the game. It's the signing. What your thoughts are on the signing of Kerfoot and Cody Ceci at the 1 year deal. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on both of those contracts. I want to hear more or less about Kerfoot and what your thoughts are going forward with Mitch Marner. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you have any projected lines going into next season, go right ahead, guys. Let me know in the comments below everything you want to talk about Leafs-wise. And I'll talk to you guys Raptors edition at some point when Kawhi Leonard signs with any team. All right, we'll talk to you guys Leafs edition at some point when Mitch Marner signs with whatever team. And we'll talk to you guys Blue Jays edition tomorrow night, 7:07 first pitch at Rogers Center as the Blue Jays open up the final series really, before the All-Star break. All right, as they welcome in the Baltimore Orioles for a 3-gamer this weekend. Starting tomorrow night, like I said, 7:07 first pitch, Aaron Sanchez, Dylan Bundy are the starting pitchers there tomorrow night, all right? So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Talk to you guys then.